Hello, and welcome back to the channel. And today's video is about how injury has affected Fernando Torres' career in long term. Now let's get started. There's a moment of contradiction in the club's discourse that we are going to improve. Bring in players to complete the squad to take that last little step to get to the final, to compete with United, and then Xabi Alonso leaves. That summer another pillar leaves, Mascherano, then the exit of Rafael Benitez later. Now we are really far away. Very far from what I was looking for when I left home. I left home to come here. I remember that season very well because it was a World Cup season. It would be a brutal year and finally winning titles with Liverpool and scoring high. On the pitch I felt better than ever. The World Cup comes closer and I feel better. But then I get a torn meniscus against Benfica. I jumped for a glancing header and I lost balance in the air and I landed on my right leg and then I felt something. He jumps, lands and stays still. It wasn't normal behavior from him. Over the next few minutes I saw he was flexing his knee and something wasn't right. I felt a little crack, like something wasn't in place, but I could keep playing. I scored 2 goals. We won and qualified for the semi-finals, and half an hour after the match, my knee was like a balloon. In the tests, we couldn't see what was wrong, and Dr. Kugat said he couldn't see clearly either. So I made the decision. I'm going to Barcelona. Due to volcano in Iceland has caused air travel restrictions. You can't fly. I couldn't believe it. Is there no way I can fly to Spain? We have no choice. Get in the car and let's go to Barcelona. I get to Barcelona. We did the same test and Dr. Kugat says if we did surgery, I would be out for a long time, that I would miss the World Cup. If we have to remove the meniscus, remove it. I don't care about the price. I've got to be in the World Cup because I knew Spain could win it. We did an intensive physio program without taking risks, obviously, but knowing that we had some milestones to hit if we want Fernando to make the date. I still joke with him. If they'd seen what we did in your physiotherapy, they'd take my license away. We operated at dawn and got to work at 8, doing strength. He just had an operation. Torres, he had to be operated on, but we're hoping it's not serious, and it also seems that he was, as far as we know, he was very happy with how it went. It were in the hands of doctors and physios. We knew the determination he had in terms of recovery and how much he wanted to join the national team, but it was an uncertain moment and we held on until the last moment. As a forward, before the first match in South Africa, he came to me and explained the situation.
Pedro, Fernando Torres.
Prepare everything for the last 16. And it seemed like a great idea. It hurts to miss World Cup marches, but my goal then was to be okay. And I know it's most important at the end. What happens? We lost to Switzerland, and everything changed. I ended up starting in the next match. I had to be there. We lost the first match. It's an unimaginable situation and we have to react. Yes, because after losing to Switzerland, we had 2 games we had to win and we looked for a bit of depth. I played against Honduras, all good. Against Chile, it was good too. Albeit a little pain at the end. And next day I woke up with my knee full of liquid, swollen. I couldn't believe it. Football was telling me, not this time. And so started the race against time to get to the next match with a little pain as possible. It's a World Cup final, and it will maybe never happen again. Almost 11, cross from Torres, ball to Cesc Fabregas and to Iniesta. And when the ball went in, it's just unbelievable. You can't believe it. I ran. I don't know if I was the first there or if Pepe, who was on the bench, overtook me. But we had the feeling that the cup was over. His injury in the final was a mental injury. Fernando is a winner, a champion, a guy who gives it his all when he's on the pitch, and when he saw he couldn't give it all, he was so overwhelmed he felt the pain. He got injured in what they call the feeling muscle. Imagine that. He went down because he thought more about, I've had another injury, than I'm going to be the world champion. That feeling makes him start to cry. I remember being on the stretcher covering my eyes, and we got to the dressing room, they said. The match had finished and we were champions. I said, let's go outside. You have to forget this. And he went out onto the pitch, where he celebrated, and he stopped the agony of thinking about injuries. But it obviously wasn't the image I had of myself being a champion of the world. Yes, you're a champion, and you have achieved your goal. This wasn't the script. I remember it as if it was yesterday. On the plane, I said, before the World Cup, wouldn't you have said yes to injuring yourself and being a world champion? He said, of course. He was screwed beyond belief, but he was really important in the game he played in, and also in the build-up to the goal. At the time, it was one of the first times I wondered whether work is only path, and if it's worth sacrificing everything for one moment, if it's better thinking with your brain or your heart, as I'd done until then. I clearly hadn't been thinking with my head. Was it really worth being a world champion for everything I risked? Would it be better if I hadn't gone and worked on my career that seems to have no limit at the time? How far would I have gone? Did it affect it or not? Now, looking at it in perspective, maybe it wasn't an intelligent decision. Thanks for watching the video. We'll be back in the next episode.